We've actually helped to foster 41 FDA-approved new breakthrough treatments for cancer, diabetes, and even vision loss. My motto, by the way, is love your food to love your health. Our blood vessels are so important that if you were to pull out every single blood vessel and line them up end to end, you would create a thread that would wrap around the earth twice. That's all packed inside our bodies. And so you got to keep a healthy circulation. And as you can imagine, when that system goes haywire, when it goes out of control, not enough blood vessels or too many blood vessels, you wind up having serious diseases, either organs and tissues that starve because they don't have enough oxygen and nutrients, or you're feeding disease tissues. And that's really kind of the filter, I think, that was unique in at least my contribution to doing something disruptive and different in medicine, is like just having a completely different lens to look at how to drive innovation. Now, that actually was a starting point for me to look at diet, because I spent all this time developing breakthrough medicines, and I realized that when we're treating disease, even as innovative as the treatments could be, the reality is that we're a little too late. It's kind of like a dollar short and a day too late. What if we could actually use the same power of science to turn the clock back and figure out how to stop disease in the first place? And that's what led me to think about prevention. That's what led me to think about not drugs, but food, which is much better for prevention. And our circulation is one of the very first things that form our bodies when we're in the womb. So number one, it's sort of like there's a blueprint for all the blood vessels that need to form. Now, here's the eye-opening part, the light bulb in your head going off. So when your body is unable to prune away, mow the lawn, and get rid of those extra blood vessels, what do you think they do? Your healthy tissues don't need them, so those extra, the overage, goes to feed disease cells. So what are some of the diseases? Breast cancer, colon cancer, brain tumors, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer. In fact, every single cancer, including blood cancers, are angiogenesis or blood vessel dependent. These blood vessels feed the cancer. And so now we've actually found ways to actually starve the cancer by cutting off the blood supply. Another disease with extra blood vessels is arthritis. The blood vessels that grow extra in our joints bring enzymes that destroy the joints. Psoriasis is another disease. And then actually, as people get older, when we get into our 60s and 70s and older, and people are living longer these days, and sometimes living with chronic diseases, it turns out that a cause of vision loss for aging, macular degeneration, age-related macular degeneration. Well, the first thing that I think important myth to bust is that in order to eat healthy, you have to cut stuff out of your life, right? That's the thing that bums the people out the most. That's the thing that makes diets unsustainable, because human nature abhors deprivation. When somebody tells you you can't do something, your brain automatically triggers this switch that says, well, maybe just once or maybe more, right? So I've, again, sort of tried to flip that discussion around to say, could we actually add foods to our diet? What foods should we add? Because if we can focus on the foods that are supported by science, that help us prevent disease and lower disease, ameliorate diseases, help treat diseases, frankly, that's food as medicine, then we're actually doing something positive. So that's the first myth, is you got to remove everything that you love. I would tell you that the opposite is true. You can actually add food that you love. And my motto, by the way, is love your food to love your health, because that's what you want to line up. Those are the two sites that you want to light up when you're actually staring at your dinner plate. I'm sure many of you will be asking that same questions, like, why do we get sick? What if we can figure that answer? I want to tell you how I upended that entire concept, because I ask a different question now. I ask, why don't we get sick more often? Why don't we get sick more often? How come kids don't get sick, seriously ill, more often? How come when we're young adults in our 20s, how come we don't develop the huge burden of diseases like cancer and diabetes and heart disease more often? How come we don't develop these diseases until later in life? Well, asking that question inverts the entire thought process. If we knew why we don't get sick more often, then we can support those systems that keep us healthy. And so this is what I'm actually telling you. I've spent more than a decade studying this, and what I figured out is our body is hardwired. We are hardwired with 5 health defense systems that we're born with. Actually, they start forming when we're in our mom's womb. When we're born, these health defense systems are inside our body, hardwired, firing on all cylinders from day one, from the day we're born until our very last breath. And how well these systems perform really is what matters in terms of whether or not we stay healthy or we stumble and might get sick. And usually these health defense systems help us regain our health again. And so the question is, how long can we extend this? How do we support and boost these health defenses so that when we're in our vulnerable periods of our life, that we can actually minimize the risk? And what's really cool is that some of these health defense systems can even reverse diseases as well. So let me tell you what we've discovered these 5 health defense systems are. Angiogenesis, which is how the body grows blood vessels. We've got 60,000 miles worth of blood vessels. I'm going to tell you about those. Regeneration, our stem cells is inside our bone marrow and in circulating our blood. That's another health defense system. Our microbiome, many of you will have heard about gut health. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how gut health and food works together. Our DNA, most people think of our DNA as our genetic code, and it is our genetic code, but that's kind of a concept that we figured out almost 50 years ago now. So what are we thinking about our DNA now? What's the state-of-the-art thinking? Our DNA protects us from the environment. And then our immunity. Our immune system is more powerful than we ever thought. So powerful, in fact, that if we had cancer, our immune system can wipe it out, even if the cancer is spread. So, this is coming from really the front leading edges, the edge of the envelope of science. Each of these defense systems, there is some biotech or pharmaceutical company working on them to develop some drugs. I will tell you that Mother Nature has beat drug companies to the punch because there are tons of foods, more than 200 foods that are right about my book, Eat to Beat Disease, that actually have the ability, proven ability through science and research to activate our health defenses. So what are some of the things that can activate the immune system besides drugs? I mean, there's a lot of things that can actually help our immune system, but food, is really a pretty powerful way to enhance it. We talked a little bit earlier about kimchi boosting our immune system through the microbiome, but there are foods that just can actually automatically boost our immune system by themselves. One of them is mango. I love mangoes. They're juicy, sweet, filled with fiber. They got lots of vitamins, and they also have bioactives. And I call them mango, by the way. A mango is a stone fruit, but I call mangoes and stone fruit grand slammers of foods. These are foods, a whole table of foods I have in my book that all activate all 5 defense systems at the same time, including the immune system. So you can slam it out of the park by eating these foods. Mango is one of my favorites. Tasty, juicy, sweet. You get vitamins, good minerals, and it actually contains these natural bioactives that actually can help boost your immune system. But it's not just mangoes. You get other things. Broccoli sprouts. Some people talk about living foods, right? Those are the young sprouting foods that have all the nutrients and the energy when they're just young babies. And later on, when they get older, they get distributed the energy on the whole bigger plant. Well, it turns out that broccoli sprouts have been studied to see if they can boost the immune system. And in my book, I talk about a research study where they gave young people in their 20s the flu shot. Actually, it's not a shot. They gave a flu inhaler to protect them against the flu. And it turns out that if they gave them also a couple of shots of broccoli sprouts made into a smoothie, that's it, a couple of shots of this a day, that you would actually improve the response like 20 times to the benefit protecting you against the flu. Boost your immune system. And when they even swabbed their noses afterwards, where the flu virus might live, they were like almost all gone. And so again, this is an example of a food that can boost up the immune response that we want to have to protect ourselves. So, you go to the doctor, you get a flu shot, but, what about having a smoothie made with broccoli sprouts as well? Final food I want to talk about is really mushrooms. So, some people love mushrooms, some people don't, but everybody should love them because, number one, they grow right from the ground. They suck up all those really nice nutrients from the ground. If it's growing in clean ground, we've got to protect our earth, have a good planet so that our food is really safe. But inside the mushroom, there is a natural compound called beta-glucan, that is found in the cap of the mushroom that we cut up, right, and eat. and that stimulates the immune system directly. But here's a real surprise. And regardless of whether it's a shiitake mushroom, a maitake mushroom, a portobello mushroom, or even the lowly white button mushroom, but researchers have found that the stems, called the stipe, actually contains up to 3 times more beta-glucan than the cap. Cap is good, stem is better. Next time you eat mushrooms, eat them both. My recommendation is take, only about 1/3 of what your brain tells you to take, put it on your plate, enjoy what you're eating, choose the right things, and lean into the foods that you love.